Hey, love. Welcome to Christianish. This is the podcast for women who have Bibles but lack boundaries. My name is Keshia Rice. I am a dating coach and hypnotherapist, and I thought to end 2024, we were going to do something different by giving you something that very few women have heard before. So, a little while ago, I did a special training called Heart, and it was all about how to attract a high value man. Now, this training was done for a very small niche group, and I recently got permission to share it more widely. And I think that as we end this year, it would be great to give you a chance to listen to this training, hear all of the things that it requires to attract a man who truly loves you, cherishes you, and takes care of you. I hope that by listening to these trainings, and it is 5 days because each day spells out one of the letters in heart. I hope that by listening to these, this will help you make your love list as you end this year so that you can prepare to attract the love that you want to have in the new year. So, we are going to end this year with 5 days of this heart training, and these are going out the week of Christmas. Christianish will not be airing for the last week of 2024 because I will be on vacation, but I will see you guys in 2025. So enjoy the training. Love you so much.
Hey love, welcome back to video 3 for how to attract a high value man. Again, I am Keshia Rice, dating coach for ambitious women of faith. And if you have not watched the first 2 videos, please go back and watch those. But we are going to continue talking about attracting a high value man and doing so using the acronym HEART. So in video 1, we talked about healing. And video 2, we talked about expectations. Again, go back and watch those if you haven't already. And today we are talking about attention in this video. So when it comes to attention, what I mean is being able to captivate the man that you are interested in. It is being able to get attention. It is also about paying attention. So before we talk about the giving attention, let's talk about the getting attention. So often, the women who come to me will say things like, it's just hard to stand out, or I feel like I need to be an Instagram model to get a man's attention, or there's just so much competition. I live in a city where there's more women than men. And I get all those things. I honestly do, because I felt those things in the past. At the same time, one, you only need one. And two, just because there are, you know, more women in a city, that doesn't mean that all those women are high value like you are. So it is a matter of learning how to get attention and how to do it in the right way. So, especially ever since the coronavirus pandemic happened, um, one of the main ways that people are meeting nowadays is online. And not just online dating sites, but also regular social media. I hear stories all the time of couples who've met through TikTok, through Facebook, through Instagram. So it's very important that when it comes to the getting attention, that you recognize you are a brand. So you want to make sure that you show up online knowing that you are a brand and that you want to stand out. So this means things like having profile pictures that are actually pictures of you and that show the best of you. Show you looking good and preferably show you by yourself instead of these group pictures with friends where no one can tell which one is you. Like you wouldn't do that on eHarmony or Match or Tinder or whatever app you're on. So why would you do that on Facebook or Instagram or any of these other sites as well? Have your profile picture show pictures of you. Have those be compelling pictures. So compelling pictures could be they are bright and colorful. Compelling pictures could be that you are doing something fun and you are showing off your hobbies, especially back to the online dating profiles for apps, for websites. You want to make sure that your pictures show a well rounded version of you. No one wants to go through 10 selfies of you. Like, I'm sorry, they just don't. No one wants to go through 10 professional headshots of you either. Show a variety. So, yeah, if you have a picture where you just look incredibly good, incredibly sexy, you're feeling yourself, you're playing Beyonce, definitely put that picture on the profile. But don't use only pictures that are taken by a professional photographer. A man who's interested in you wants to know what you look like in your everyday as well. A man wants to know what your hobbies are, so you just posing doesn't really tell him anything. So, show a variety. Also, when it comes to the whole idea of competition, if you want to stand out, you have to be confident in the fact that there is no such thing as competition. So, yes, there are other women who exist. And yes, there are other single women who exist. But there's no such thing as competition. Who is meant for you is meant for you. And I know that can sound trite or that can sound easier said than done. But again, I mentioned this in the first two videos. My interest is never that you find a man. Um, Anyone can find a man, and there are other dating coaches that can help you with that. My interest is that you find a partner who values you for who you are and cherishes you for who you are. So beware of this thought of trying to look like a certain type of woman, trying to be a trophy wife or trophy girlfriend, or trying to copy Instagram models and reality stars, because they tend to attract men who are with them because they just want a certain look and a certain type of status, not because they're necessarily looking for a high value quality relationship. Also, when it comes to getting attention, stop loading your profiles with your resume. Don't get me wrong. I am proud of you. I am proud of all the degrees that you have. I am proud of all of your job accomplishments. I am proud of the business you started, all of that good stuff. And your man will be proud of you for those things too. But I'm going to be real. You sound boring and like you don't have a social life if that is what you're leading with in all of your profiles. When it comes to your profiles, both social media, online dating apps, all of that, you want to make sure that you are talking about the real you. So, seriously, love, if you had your job or your business taken away from you tomorrow, then who would you be? What are the things that you are passionate about? What are you interested in beyond just your title? So, for example, when I was single and I was on online dating apps, before I was a dating coach, I was a journalist. So, instead of putting on my profile two-time Emmy nominated journalist, which is nice and good and all of that, I used to talk about how I was a huge lover of a good story, how I enjoyed storytelling. And as a man gets to know me and as he got to like go on dates and talk to me more, than yeah, he learned about the journalism stuff and he learned about TV news and all of that good stuff. But I led with what I was passionate about. I was never, ever passionate about being a journalist. I was passionate about sharing great stories and writing great stories. So that's what I led with. So don't lead with your resume. Lead with what lights you up, what makes you happy, what makes you sparkle. Those are the things that are going to get attention. Also, you want to get attention by being cultured, by being educated, by having things going on. So I alluded to this in video one when we were talking about healing. If you are dating for the purpose of marrying someone who's wealthy or rich, There's a whole class of dating coaches that handle that. It's called hypergamy. One of the things that they get right is that it is very important that you are more than just a pretty face. You are interesting as well. So doing that means keeping up with what's happening in the news and keeping up with current events. If you don't want to watch, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, if you don't want to read the newspaper every day, I totally get it. Um, I totally get that some people can find that depressing, but make sure you have a working knowledge of what is happening. CNN.com has a thing called Five Things, and it is 5 news stories to start the day. The Skim, SKIMM, has a daily newsletter that you can sign up for that gives you a quick daily briefing of the news. Sign up for things like that so that you at least have a basic general understanding of what's happening in the world. Also, cultivate your interests and passions, whether that is going to a museum, taking virtual tours, read books, listen to podcasts. Do things that make you multifaceted. Those will make you more interesting and help you get more attention because your conversations will be better. And have good stories to tell. So, part of that is being cultured and being educated. When you put yourself out there, when you go do things, when you go explore, you naturally have great stories. For me, I've traveled to a dozen countries and most of the states in the United States. So I have all these great travel stories. And of course, I entertain people with those now. But especially when I was single, it was one of the things that helped me stand out. At the same time, if traveling is not your thing, take up a sport, take up spending time outdoors, um, take up going to art events and concerts, have great music to talk about, great recommendations that you can give, but find great stories that you can tell about yourself and about your life and what's happening in your life and what you're learning, what you're doing, how you're growing. Have those stories. So that is the getting attention. Let's talk about giving attention. One of the sexiest things that you can do is have an ability to be present. What I mean by being present is actively listening when you're on a date or when you're on FaceTime or Zoom or when you're talking to a man over the phone and you are actively paying attention to what he is saying and you are giving meaningful, thoughtful responses to the things that he says. Your ability to stay in the moment will always catch a man's attention. We live in a society where people have attention spans that are at like zero. Um, so it is remarkable when someone is present, when they're with you, but they have their phone down, when they are with you and they don't just listen to what you say and they're like, uh-huh, yeah, or that's cool or whatever, but when they actually follow up with thoughtful questions, when they have good responses. My journalism background was a huge boon to my dating because I was good at interviewing people. So, of course, I could ask great questions, and that helped me stand out in the dating world. So, you also want to play up what is notable about you and use that to both get attention and also to give attention. So, getting attention could be maybe wearing a signature color you have if you're going on a date, or again, if you're doing a video call with a guy, having some accessory that is noticeable, like a cool scarf, a cool hat, t-shirt with something really cool on it. But also, you can use it to show your interest in a guy and give attention that way as well. So if you're talking to a guy and he's really interested in anime, I use that one as an example because that's my husband's hobby and interest is anime. So if that is the case, like borrow a t-shirt from a friend of yours that is also interested in it if that's not your personal interest, and show that you were paying attention to the conversation. Show that you noticed what he said and what he takes interest in. This does not mean change your personality in order to fit the man. Um, Using that anime example, I'm not a huge fan of those cartoons. My husband knows that I will probably never be a huge fan of those cartoons. But because he knows that I'm not a huge fan, it is attractive to him still when he sees that I at least take some interest. When I see a meme online that I know is related to a show that he watches and I send it to him. Those types of things are what will get someone's attention and also keep their attention. So, we have been talking all about heart, and we've talked about healing, we've talked about expectations and attention. So, in the next video, we're talking all about the R in heart, and that is rules. So, I will see you then.
This podcast is brought to you by Contessa Digital.